Hi. Tonight we're going to talk about the space of consciousness. The space of consciousness is difficult to explain intellectually because it is beyond the mind. But we are consciousness, so we know it intimately. When we go deep within, beyond the mind and body identification, we expand our consciousness that includes them. But we are not caught up in their personal history. We can drop it like a bad habit that keeps coming up by expanding our consciousness to include the positive and negative. But they don't affect us. On the physical plane, we go from pleasure to pain in duality. But in spirit, we unite them so they disappear like darkness when we turn on the light. This happens because we make the darkness conscious in an uninterrupted state of being that does not end when our meditation ends. To be consciousness is to be aware, mindful, present in the here and now. The state of consciousness is silent, tranquil, and alert in the present, existing before our thoughts enter. It is a single, isolated, universal consciousness inside everyone and everything, is inside the solitary consciousness that is unattached. Amit Goswami says, consciousness comes first. It is the ground of all being. Everything else, including matter, is a possibility of consciousness. And consciousness chooses out of these possibilities the events we experience. Goswami is a physicist. Max Planck is a physicist too, and a Nobel Prize winner. And he says, there is no matter as such. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force, which brings the particles of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force the existence of a consciousness and intelligent spirit. This spirit is the matrix of all matter. This one consciousness is vibrating at different frequencies, so we have the invisible and the visible in one matrix of energy that can be observed and understood at the level of consciousness we are at in this moment. This matrix has energy clusters transforming in evolution from minerals to flowers, trees, animals, and humans. It is a single energy field expressing its consciousness in different physical forms. So in humans, we call this space soul. The soul is our connection to everything, as it doesn't know race, color, or age, because it only knows unity and love. Experiencing this space connects us to each other to construct the matrix we call the universe, collective consciousness, or God. The experience inspires the wisdom traditions, science, and religions all around the world as it gives unity to what it observes with love. We don't have a soul, but we are this consciousness. We are the soul in human form, so we can connect with the experience of being human. This makes happiness and love not a goal, but a way of life. It starts from within and becomes our guiding force outside. Therefore, it is necessary to step aside to experience the soul, to determine what we want to do and think in our limited time in the human form. Ram Dass says, when many people have this heart connection, then we will know that we are all one, that we are human beings all over the planet. We will be one love, and we don't leave out the animals and trees and clouds and galaxies. It's all one. It's one energy. Confucius said, everything has beauty, but not everyone sees it. Rumi said, it is the inner bond that draws one person to another, not words. Our mind is wild because we treat it harshly, so it is nervous, not in its natural state, so it requires love and peace to tame it. We do this by turning our focus inside to the consciousness that draws our attention away from our mind, dissolving anger, hate, and thoughts that separate us in duality, so only a loving space remains. This loving space is universal consciousness, an awareness that expands our unit consciousness to include everything. Instinctively, this includes our body, mind, and brain, because we realize we are a soul that takes on human form. As our consciousness dissolves the limits of our mind and the sense of a separate self, we forget our unity, so we need to immerse ourselves in the extensive spaciousness of cosmic consciousness, or if you're a Christian, Christ consciousness. Experience cosmic intelligence is what Jesus was referring to when he said, I and the Father are one. Amit Ray says, your greatest awakening comes when you are aware about your infinite nature. And Thich Nhat Hanh says, enlightenment is when a wave realizes it is the ocean. Rumi says, be like melting snow, wash yourself of yourself. Lao Tzu said, when I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Ramana Maharishi said, the self is only one. If it is limited, it is the ego. If it is unlimited, then it is infinite and the great reality. We are a single spacious consciousness that is everywhere, but appearing to us as an unconnected, independent human being. That is why when we let go of our mind-body identification, we value and cherish the presence of the one universal consciousness that brings us inner peace in the present moment. We let go of our separate self and realize the conscious space we call soul has always been inside us, and it is our true nature. The soul is not only in our body, belonging to our body and mind, but is inside and outside, encompassing the body and mind. In the East, soul is called Atman, meaning self. So when we realize it, we recover our freedom and authenticity, no longer letting our mind tell us who we are. Human beings are to be loved and objects are to be used. But our mind tells us that objects are to be loved and people are to be used. That is why we need to dive continuously into the sentient inner sanctum and connect to the love and grace and the divinity within. The Atman is beyond our mind and an imperceptive body, but at the same time inclusive with them. In the conscious space, we are relaxed and free from thinking and can sense the I am presence in everything. In this unified field of consciousness, we don't worry or devote energy to the maintenance of our ego, but we are open to all possibilities of being and thinking. Chief Seattle said, all things share the same breath. The beast, the tree, the man, the air shares its spirit with all the life it supports. Sri Aurobindo said, but what, after all, behind appearance is a seeming mystery. We can see that it is the consciousness which had lost itself, returning to itself, emerging out of its giant self-forgetfulness, slowly, painfully, as a life that it would be sentient, to be more than sentient, to be again divinely self-conscious, free, infinite, immortal. The Vedas say, do not be under the delusion that God is somewhere and you have to search for him. God is in you. Our mind thinks it is searching for spiritual awakening, but we are consciousness, so we don't have to search, but just have to be who we are as a spirit, coping with the human experience. It will come to us what our purpose is and why we are here. Therefore, we have to develop attention to get beyond the mind. If we don't have attention, our mind will be the master and will lead us everywhere except to the soul. We gain attention by developing our talents, which will change with age. So sports, dance, music, writing, cooking, and reading will develop our attention and turn it so we can just be consciousness. The practice is just being conscious, mindful in the present, knowing your true self, just being your true self. That's meditation. We don't have to try and control our dream with our mind because the dream is automatic. Even after enlightenment, we know it is a dream. So we can enjoy it as the observer. We just need to be aware of the all-inclusive consciousness inside everything and everyone. The Upanishads say, "Who sees all beings as his own self, and his own self in all beings, loses all fear." Rumi says, "This universe is not outside you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you already are." A Zen proverb says, "Change how you see and see how you change." Thank you.